a wonderful day yesterday. As we can see, the market is trying to do nothing overnight, right? Really just kind of did a little bit of inventory correction. Very wide POC, about 23 or 22 DPOs wide, very tight range inside yesterday. We just actually extended the range down a bit into that upper, or right into that E high, closing that lower distribution. And then, now we're trading back above. So going into this morning, a key thing to look for will be that overnight inventory correction. We can see overnight inventory is pretty much short, right? Net short. There's the high here, traded back into that lower distribution area, and then started ticking up, came back down into it. And if we expand this profile, you can really see every time it got a little bit lower, we just saw these moves up, which is pretty telling of shorts covering, getting a chance to cover. And with the housing report that came out, which was a 10% miss, a pretty big miss, and it's new homes getting built, so 10% less homes starting new builds. The market really didn't react much off of that, right? Didn't really get any push down. So kind of telling that the market, to me, really just kind of seems like it's accepting these prices up here. And so today, basically, my idea will just be to treat these as different profiles here and play acceptance in this lower profile. Would probably look towards that A excess below. Acceptance in this upper profile will probably look towards that 403.75, which was that prior high. We've got that 200 SMA at that 43.11. And I mean, that's pretty much the plan for today, is just to stay patient early. We're going to be opening up in value, and we know as we open up in value, typically the market tends to be a little bit choppy. So we want to be patient for that, let the market kind of work itself out before we decide to pick a side, and just kind of go from there. That's really it. There's not much else we can really do besides just stay patient today and wait for the market to kind of figure itself out. Really similar to yesterday, as yesterday we had a very similar early on play, right? Market kind of, zoom this out, market kind of balanced itself in the lower range, right? Covered the shorts early. We look at the overnight session. What's this thing doing? Taking us all the way back. Okay, so we can see, overnight inventory was pretty short. Got that early correction off of that overnight inventory, and then balanced, repairing this kind of weak structure. Well, we didn't really have any weak structure yesterday. Bree Tabby, thank you for the follow. We didn't really have any weak structure yesterday besides this single distribution, which I guess we could classify as weak structure, but more or less just trap shorts covering in this lower distribution. And so market balanced, we could see that again, moving towards the high, seeing if buyers are willing to accept in these higher prices. I didn't include the spike of yesterday as we got that little price pump up at the end. It just really looked like excess. It didn't really look like a spike. It came up and then came right back down. Didn't spend any time up there. Didn't really try to explore any higher prices. It just, looked more like the last bit of weak-handed shorts, just giving up at the end of the day, probably looking to come into the market today and try it again. So we'll just kind of pay attention to that and see what that brings early on. Taking a peek around the market here. Let's pop this bad boy open. Balanced. You can see Amazon actually getting a little bit of upside, and it looks like it might open up on a gap. We're watching that 144.62 level, and the reason being is if we switch over here to the daily chart, we can see that's where this upper level is at. Still has a gap below here, And you can see I went back and marked a lot of the gaps on a lot of these stocks. But I'm watching this 144 level as kind of a break up into this balance, and really I think that will kind of unlock this upside, and you might get a test of that 150, that magical 150 level. This back on the 30. All right. Google just trading pretty balanced here. Meta still pretty balanced, right at that 0 gamma level. Microsoft not really doing much early on. Netflix the same. Tesla still trading inside yesterday's range, but it's trading at the upper end of that range. And then the VIX here is just barely sitting above that 20 level here after trading a little bit lower in the session. Still has a bit of a gap here below. Not that that really matters, but I just want to know if we get into the gap. Let me load in our new levels here for our options. Good morning, Pop. Good morning, Kevin. Good morning, Brian. Good morning. Let me go ahead and pull up some Tommy, good morning. Get some Reveille going here, and we'll get started. What do we've got? We've got still about 10 minutes until the market opens. So if you've got any questions, go ahead, type them in the chat. We can go over anything that you guys want. Naturally, I'm always open for questions. I'm not really a big believer in dumb questions, just them, right? No, I'm just kidding. Let's go ahead and play Reveille a little bit early today so we can get motivated and get this party started here. Let me turn the volume on so everybody can hear it. And turn this volume up. Here we go. All right. Now we're ready. We're motivated. We're ready to get this thing rolling. And now's that time. Now's that time to really prepare yourself. Make sure you've got your trade plan. Make sure that you're going to follow it, and make sure you do what you need to do in order to have a good day, right? There are 3 tickers showing call counts before the open, nothing allowing P counts before the open. We can see most of the options data preparing to come into the market on the early side of the up.